What's up, everybody? Welcome. It's me. It's Kev, your buddy Kev Rogers, and I'm with my buddy Chris Orzechowski. What's up, bud?
How's it going, man?
Good. Happy Tuesday to you, November 22nd. And we're here because we want to talk to you about copywriting and particularly short copywriting, email copywriting. Chris, this is where you make your bones, as everybody knows. You've pretty much always been specializing in email copy since you started in this business, and you've never really left that realm.
Yeah, it's fun. We had a discussion a while back years ago, and I was like, I don't know if email is deep enough, like to really sustain a career to be, But it's funny looking back on that and laughing because it's super deep and super important. And short copy stuff is just fun.
Yeah.
It's a whole art in and of itself.
Yeah, it really is, man. It's funny because when I came into this, everything was just sales letters. That was it. You had to, that's all anybody wanted to hire you to do, write sales letters. They were like, we can write the emails or whatever. Then it became like full packages. Then VSLs came out. So then it suddenly evolved to like, oh, if we could get people, do a better job of getting people to the VSL, helping them figure out what to do after. And that now, like everything's short copy. Like, of course, yes, in certain industries, you're going to have to get good at long form. For instance, financial, right? I know not everybody wants to be a financial copywriter, but these days, they're going to start you writing lift notes, which are very short emails about getting people back to the promo, or they're going to have you writing advertorials at most, which is maybe 2 pages. And so I was looking today, Chris, thinking about this topic, and I'm looking through my bookshelf, and I realized I have more books on writing short than I do writing long. Of course, I made my bones off of that for a long time. Roy Peter Clark, who we've both learned from live in person, how to write short. So there's an art to this. The proverb effect, which is a really cool one. Ron Plouffe. The microscript rules. Our buddy Michael Haig, selling your story in 60 seconds. And so this is really a significant thing, always has been. And I would say never more than now is short copy critical to doing whatever you want to do as a copywriter.
Yeah, and by the way, I might need that book list because there's a few that I don't have from that list.
Okay.
Afterwards, might have to post that one. There's some good ones there. Yeah, it's like it's the language of the internet. I feel like whereas obviously long copy is a part of it too. But what I found is that people kind of digest any piece of copy in chunks. So much so that like even when I've written sales pages, long form sales pages, like usually what I'll do is I'll just take separate hooks that almost could be an email by themselves, like these short little blocks that would probably work well as a standalone email. And I just assemble them in the right order to compile a longer form sales page. I did that with a client recently, worked pretty well.
Right.
And then what I did was I wrote it, then I gave it to their copywriter and said, now what you're going to do is you're going to take section by section, you're going to send these out as emails and direct them back to the sales page, which has also been working pretty well. But yeah, that's the thing, because it's all about, at the end of the day, like any piece of writing is really about the hook. And a lot of newer writers, especially, like it's very hard to sustain the energy and the excitement and the intensity of the hook through a long form piece unless you're really, really good. And that's why you see so many people go into financial, a lot of people struggle. But the people who really put their head down and work hard at it, they have these astronomical wins, like so much so the numbers that some of these copywriters and some of these companies do with a long form piece, because they can sustain the energy of the hook, but it's very hard for most people to do that. But with a piece of short form copy, it's a little bit easier, right? Because, how hard is it to mess up a 300-word email or 400-word email?
Right.
I mean, you could still mess it up, but versus a 30,000-word promo, like it's going to be, many fewer variables that you have to worry about.
And how much easier is it to get feedback on a short piece and correct it?
Mm-hmm.
That's why I love emails and advertorials, because it's all the elements of selling are on display, but you can focus in on one at a time, and it allows you, that's to me, that's how you get good. It used to be the theory was get good at long form and then the short form stuff will be easy. Now it's like, but that's, I mean, we're talking 2 years to get good. Think about it. It takes you 3 months to write a draft. It takes you another 2 months to get it like critiqued properly, go back and forth through that. And then, you got to write several. And so it could be years before you're good at long form. Now you just get good at kind of like what you were saying. It's like take the short form methods and then, slowly apply it to long form and then get a system for writing long form. Point is, look, you used to have to wait to start your career. If you're a freelancer, if you want to be a copywriter, and now you can start right away, because as we see in Copy Chief, there's just an endless supply of people looking to hire email copywriters. You see it every day in your world too, Chris. Email Copy Academy is why you created that course, right? Everybody was coming to you when you were coming up in the ranks and everybody was starting to know your name. It's like, how do you do this? Can you teach me 2 things: how to write copy as good as you, how to write email copy as good as you, and how to get clients. And you never really wanted to be the client guy. That's my job. But you did put it in this course. Just to I remember you kind of saying like, there, I said it. Everything you need to know is in there. Your brand new book is client acquisition. And so obviously this is something that keeps coming up. And because what happens is we keep evolving our thinking and our methodology around it. Congrats on the new book, by the way.
Thank you.
I want to get my hands on. I'm waiting for my signed copy. So, but you keep tempting me with your emails to go buy the digital.
It's coming. It's coming. I'm trying to deal with the printers. It's like figuring all this stuff out. It's might just throw it on Amazon. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, I mean the client stuff. I wrote that book because I just wanted to kind of get out of my brain and off my chest and same thing, never have to worry about it again. There's still so many people. I'm like, I've done ECA, just go through that. But some people are still hesitant. And I'm like, all right, get this book. This will be a good start, kind of like a good primer. Thing is, there's just so much opportunity, really for any kind of copy, but definitely for email, because for a few reasons, it's a consumable product, like a supplement. Like you don't buy a supplement one time, you buy a supplement every month, because the benefits of taking that supplement, you tend to compound the more that you take it, right? Same thing with email. Like you're not just going to write 3 emails a week for a client for 1 month and they're never going to need emails again. Like they're going to send those emails out. They're going to say, hey, well, we have another promo coming up. We have another launch. We're having a new product coming out. Like we're always going to need more stuff written, right? And for a lot of brand owners, it's just something that maybe it makes sense for them to do it themselves to a certain extent, but it becomes a matter of EHR for them. Like there's only one person who could run that company, and it's usually that founder. The founder can't be writing all the emails and writing all the copy and doing all those things, but you can take over that very high value task. And the cool thing is when you take it over for them, I mean, we've had clients where we'll make, $10, $20, $30,000 or more per email send. So it's like, okay, well, can you charge $2,000 a month? Can you charge $3,000 a month? Can you charge $5,000 a month? Can you charge more? I mean, we were charging $10,000 a month for a retainer at my agency, and people are like, "Wow, that's a lot." And I'm like, "Okay, well, the very first email we send on day one for a typical client of that size might make $19,600, right? So on day one, we recouped. Now we have 29 more days, 29 more days left of the month to continue to get them even a greater ROI. So." Yeah, not saying you have to charge these astronomical fees, right? Especially not out of the gate, but the ROI potential is so high. Whereas with other types of writing, other types of copy, yes, you might, but like Kevin was saying, it might take you 3 months to get that sales letter done, implemented, or the launch to go off. There's a lot of different factors out of your control, but you can send an email and there's instant feedback and instant sales usually.
That's a good point. And that's, again, when you get good at this and you understand how to apply it, look, here's the leverage for any freelance copywriter at the end of the day. Yes, you want to be a good writer. Yes, you want to learn how to sell in your writing. But then you have to be able to create predictable results for your clients. And then when you do that, if you're not sort of a complete nutcase, right? If you're a sane human being who can show up and seem put together on a call with a potential client, and through that behavior, you build a track record. So you got a decent reputation. Then it becomes a math problem. That's it. You're on the call with the prospect and you're like, all right, here's what my emails do. I'm looking at what you've been doing It ain't the same. I would like to give my system a try in your campaigns, and we can predictably assume that we're going to see this kind of result. And for them to pay you the first chunk of money that comes in and get to repeat that forever is a true no-brainer. And when that first chunk of money is 20, 30, 40 grand, that's when you hear people say, yeah, I got $20,000 to write one email. Right? There's always a little more to it, but that's what the little more is to it. It's just about when you have the swagger to know that your systems work, it's easy to make these agreements with clients.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just like it's clean, it's simple, it's easy. It's like you write them an email, they send it out, they make money, and then you just do over and over and over. And there's obviously like complexity with launches and automations, things you can do, but at the very basic level, it's just easy to get started. It's easy to get a lot of reps in. Because like what I always realize with email is like it's really just like, yes, there's the technique of email copywriting, but like the biggest driver of that is just having so many reps that forces you, like everyone has like that hook generation muscle, right? And when you're doing a ton of reps, if you're doing 10 emails a week or whatever it is, like I probably do at least 10 emails a week now, even though I don't really write for clients myself that much anymore. But still, I'm just generating hooks all the time. And like after years and years and years that you just get good at, if you know what a good hook is, that's going to carry the strength of the email. And it's going to shorten the amount of time it takes you to write and increase the amount of sales that you can make. When I work with clients, when I do audits and look at their automations, that's usually what I look at. I say, okay, well, this is a weak hook. That's a weak hook. That's a weak hook. Like if we just fix these hooks and make them stronger ideas in the emails, it's important to have, good opening lines, good subject lines and all that stuff. Obviously it's super important, but that's what it really comes down to. And that happens through just a sheer volume of reps that you get, where you're not like, how many long form sales letters will you do in a year? Again, like I still write long form sales letters for clients every now and then. I still like it. I still use them myself.
Yeah.
Like maybe you do 6 in a year, maybe you do 10 in a year. That's a lot, right? Maybe you do 12, maybe you do one a month, like one big one a month. That's a lot. But 12 emails you do in a week, right? So it's like hooks all the time. You get really good at it.
For sure. Yeah. People always talk about that effect of once you start writing them steady, it's like you can't stop the ideas. You see them everywhere. They're just, your brain is trained to see ideas, story ideas everywhere. Why don't we, we're going to get, coming up in the show, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to talk a little bit about some of the changes, the tech changes, the iOS stuff and whatnot that are affecting email. Chris has, of course, got his finger on the pulse of all that as he works with his clients through that in his own company. And so we are going to talk a little bit about that. And why companies are paying more than ever for this style of copy, exactly what short form copy entails, and again, why it's in demand. But Chris, why don't we have some fun and look at a couple of email examples of our own? Because I know when I was starting out, it was nice to hear people talk sort of like from 10,000 feet about the business and the thing and the methods, but I always wanted to see what does it look like in action. So do you have an email you want to share and give some context around how it was used and why you wrote it the way you did?
Yeah, I can share one of mine, or I can share one from my upcoming newsletter with the Orzies, one of the award-winning ones, if you want. Whatever you prefer.
Whatever you think is best, man. I got one of mine that I think displays from our recent campaign. So if you want to, were you going to share mine, or were you going to? I don't want to give anything away.
I could share I was going to share something different.
Share something different. Okay, good. Yeah, sure. Share. This is even better because, again, Chris is reading countless emails every year. And he does the Orzies in his Make It Rain monthly newsletter, which I have a special place for right here. I literally have every issue right there behind my desk at any given time. And once a year, Chris puts out the Orzies, and that's like the Oscars for email copywriting. And so he chooses some, he gives them awards, and he breaks down why he thought they were great. So this is the ultimate filter, Chris. So yeah, give us one of those.
Yeah, absolutely. I can share my screen, right?
I believe so.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So I don't know if she's watching, but Annie Arrow, the Bay Gal, she is
Oh
the
yeah,
one
big Al.
who's who's we're going to look at. Screen sharing. Okay. Cool. Um. So this is the email that she sent in. I thought this one was phenomenal because
Wait, sorry, I'm
you
not
could see
seeing
it.
it on the
Okay.
screen.
You can't see it.
I
Okay.
can't see it.
Oh wait. Sorry. 1 second. Here we go. Ready? Can you see now?
Yeah, let me add that. Yeah, I just had to add it. Okay, cool.
Okay. Sweet. Um. So yeah, so if you guys don't know Annie, she owns the Bagel Grove up in New York, and it's funny because when you think about everyone talks about like there's the health market and the finance market and the relationship market and the money making market, and like those are like the big markets like online, and people are always like, but well, this email copy stuff work for my industry, for my business, for my brand, for what I sell, and like I always say yes because it pretty much works for everything. People don't believe me. And then I show them examples like this, which is a phenomenal email. I'm going to read it in a second. But Annie sells bagels. Like it doesn't get any more like it's bagels. You know what I mean? Like what's like it's not some sexy $2,000 internet marketing course. It's bagels. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I mean, I love a good bagel, don't get me wrong, but it's like not something where you typically see copy, right? Especially not like, the short form email copy this with the storytelling approach. And that's why I love this email so much. And her subject line, if you guys can see here, says Mad Genius perfects age old recipes.
Can you make that any bigger, Chris?
Yeah, I think I can
There we
zoom in
go.
a little bit.
Perfect.
Yeah, there we go. So she got the logo here. It says, in the back of the room of the Bagel Grove, there's a mad genius at work. He's the one mixing all the ingredients and testing the elasticity of each batch of dough to determine the ideal water to weather ratios for the day. He's a master mechanic and knows how to fix, finagle, and coax our bagel forming machine, the one he calls Audrey, to roll out the perfect size and shape for every flavor of bagel that passes through his lab. He orders the lumps of virgin bagels on boards in Rain Man fashion, spacing them out to allow ideal airflow around each one for the resting and proofing to come next. So, like right there, I mean, one of the things I wrote in the issue was it reminds me almost of that scene at the end of uh, season one, episode 1 of Mad Men, when Don Draper's kind of stumped. He doesn't know what to tell the Lucky Strike people because they can't advertise the way they've been advertising anymore. So he says, how do you make your tobacco? And then he starts going through the process. And he's like, it doesn't matter. He's like, everyone else's tobacco is poisonous. Yours is toasted, right? And that's obviously kind of I think that's harkening back to that old Schlitz beer campaign where like everyone kind of made their beer the same, but he's just, I think that's Claude Hopkins. Maybe he was the one who outlined how Schlitz washes the bottles 3 times and all the filtration and blah, blah, blah. And like everyone does that, but they were the only person telling people that they did that. So what I love about this email, it's kind of, I don't know if that's what she was going for necessarily, but it kind of reminded me of that, where it's kind of like maybe everyone does this with their bagels. I don't know, maybe not, but like you getting to see the process, you feel like you're a fly on the wall in the back of the bagel shop. Like you're like, oh wow, I feel like I know these people, and you kind of like can see how things are made. It is interesting. It's intriguing, right? And you're like, wow, okay, if I'm going to choose to buy bagels, who am I going to choose from? The person who I know and like and trust, and I know their process, and I can know the story behind how they do things, or this other shop that I have no idea what's going on in the kitchen or who's working there or whatever the deal is, right?
Right.
Yeah,
that's it. It reminds me of when Gary Bencivenga retired from copywriting. That's what he started doing, right? With TJ and the olive oil stuff. And his copy is so great that way. It's just like, oh man, I never thought twice about olive oil before in my life, but now he's taking me into these olive groves and all over the world. And I'm like, I want to know all about this. And so it's the intrigue and the insight. And that, by the way, is like the way to get across expertise. Instead of listing out all your credentials and saying I'm an expert, it's like, show me through your eyes what this process looks like and what makes a good bagel. And my brain will know you're an expert I can trust to make a great bagel.
Yeah, like I want to try these bagels, and I might have to because I think Annie's launching that
the
service where you can order them.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to do that. Although we have very good bagels in New Jersey, so I'll see how they compare. I'm very I'm very prideful. But anyway, let me keep going through this one. But he doesn't stop there. I don't call him a mad genius because he's able to follow perfectly our time-tested recipes and procedures time and time again, preparing racks and racks of perfectly proofed and fermented round wheels of bagel potential. I call him a mad genius because then he goes home and watches hours of bagel making on YouTube, researching the craft of bageling across the traditions, even as far as Korea. He brings home the samples of bagel dough to his home kitchen and tests out new methods of baking and topping and preserving. He reads blogs and news articles about dough preparation, immersing his mind in the mysterious dance between science and nature and art. I mean, again, we're talking about bagels, right? Like,
Right.
we're not talking about some crazy, like luxury watch or some. This is bagels, right? But it's amazing to see how she explains and unpacks all this, right? And then he comes back to his lab and tries out his theories methodically. His love of aesthetic and experience is tempered by his method, the scientific approach of testing and tweaking and testing again. And every week, our bagels, which to laymen and women like you and me already appear and taste like the sweetest, plumpest semblance of bagel perfection, get a little bit better. Here's a peek at his work. So I guess there's a link there. Introducing my husband, the next generation of our bagel legacy, the mad genius I love with all my heart. He brings a stack of flour, a scoop of salt, and another of sugar together with a dusting of yeast and seduce them in the finest bagels I've ever tasted. So another thing too about this that Anne does a good job of is like, you're so curious now. You're like, man, like I gotta just try this. If nothing else, right? Like if you weren't already sold by kind of like the background story, you're like, I wonder how these actually taste. Like I actually have to go and see for myself, right? It's
Yeah.
almost like when you see those there's these things you'll see on websites like BuzzFeed that be like, it's the $500 burger, and you're like, I just have to try that, even if it's not that this is a stupid purchase, but like something like that would be who's going to spend $500 for a burger,
Right.
right? But
Right.
it's almost like I just got to try to see what it's like there's so much
Right.
intrigue built around it,
$100
which is kind
cheesesteak in Philly. It's like, yeah.
yeah, like what could go into that? Like how does it like you have to you
Just
have
to
to know,
tell
but
the
again,
story, you're buying $100 story, right? And feeding your curiosity.
oh yeah, and then she got a little image in here, which is great. There's order buttons. I mean, I just thought this was exceptional because like you don't see this for. I mean, you definitely don't see it for brick and mortar. That's for. I mean, you
Well,
don't even see this for most online brands.
and I know you deal with this a lot, but there's a couple people in the comments going like, "This is stupid. Why would anybody read that much copy about a bagel?" To which you say,
To which I say, if you're interested in the brand and you're interested in the products, then you're going to want to learn more,
"Yeah, they're not
right?
the
Like if you,
market. You
yeah,
guys
like
aren't the market. If you have no interest in bagels." Notice she said women something is she's talking basically to housewives or people or working moms who want bagels all the time in their house. And so they're going to buy bagels, and she's enticing them to get better quality bagels, and she's most likely pitching them on a subscription service. Just let me bring these delicious bagels to your house every day and you'll never have to think about it. So there's Nikki saying I would read it. She loves bagels, right? So
yeah, and like we're not selling bagels to keto people. We're selling bagels
right,
to bagel lovers. Like that's the thing. Like you wouldn't be on a bagel list in the first place unless you liked eating bagels, right? So
exactly.
that's so,
So
and that's what's so great about email. If I could just say one thing, like you're selling to the hottest core of the market always, because out of all of the people in the world, 8 billion people, right? We just passed 8 billion people. Where is the collection of the people who like you the most, who know you the most, who trust you the most, who want to buy your products the most? They're always the people on your email list. It doesn't mean that there aren't other people out there who will come to the fold, but those people are the people on the list. So they're always going to be the people who are most interested.
yeah, exactly right. So John, I just want to warn you, man. I get what you're saying, but you're letting your personal bias about your interest in this topic, I feel like from your comments, keep you from learning the lesson here that this style of copy works for an interested market, no matter what they are. And so I see you hung up on the whether of fact you'd read about a bagel. You're not the market, bro. That's all you need to know is the fact that you wouldn't means but don't discount the lesson and the learning. In fact, you'd be better off instead of like hand copying sales letters and practicing writing the stuff know is working in a certain market and taking yourself out of that little sort of like proven zone and attempting to write something to a different market that would expand your creativity and your ability to come up with ideas more than just practicing the same stuff. So anyway, that's all. Just want to, I can't help but coach when I see something. So
James dropped a good comment. He said this might be a geographic thing in the New York, New Jersey area. Bagels are an art form. In the Midwest, they only come in a lender's handbag. Yeah,
yeah, that is true.
Bagels and pizza, take it very seriously over here. So
yeah. All right, I got one that some folks might like better if they're freaked out by bagels, because mine is an objection email. And as everybody should know, this is, and Chris teaches this very well in Email Copy Academy, there's certain types of emails during a launch that you need to have. One of them is the FAQ or the objections email. And what I love about those is you can have a little fun with them. They're basically blocks of short copy and you're just calling out. But you have a lot of choices here when you style one of these. You can be very formal, you can be very polite, you could be very in your face, as Chris tends to be, our buddy Daniel Throssell, which is basically like he'd be cracking. So I let me find mine here. How do I share screen? I should know this because you just did it.
To present.
Oh yeah, present. Button. Thank you. Why did they change?
I'm used to the Zoom where it says share screen.
Yeah, I don't know why they decided to change the name of it.
Yeah.
What we all know it as. Where do I want to be? I want to be in my email. Okay, here we go. Is this appearing the way I hope it is?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Okay. So, and I want to point out, because this guy replied to it, this email makes me want to grab this offer. And then, but he was, actually, Rachel accidentally took it down for 2 hours. So he did end up getting it. But, but this was the email. Hey, if you haven't pulled, and this is the day before it ends, keep in mind the timing is important. If you haven't pulled the trigger on my offer to test drive Copy Chief for 7 days for $1, I'm pretty sure it's for one of these reasons. The offer closes tomorrow, so let's talk it out. I'm already up to my eyeballs in copy training. So again, I'm not numbering there. I'm just saying, trying to really enter the conversation, right? It's like, all right, I don't need any more training. I've got too much already. I'm already up to my eyeballs in copy training. Yes, you are. And guess what? That's never going to change. Copywriters are high fact finders, and it's our job to know the best practices for selling with words. So quit beating yourself up about it. My friend David Deutsch is a bona fide legend of copywriting, and he buys new trainings every year. Same with Paris Lampropoulos, Marcella Allison, and Joshua Lee Henry. The simple philosophy top copywriters have is, if I get one nugget from it that makes me better, smarter, or more clued in, then it was worth it. Cool thing about Copy Chief is you'll be amongst other copywriters who not only own those other trainings, assuming they're worthy of owning, but have filtered through both ours and, should say, many other trainings, and put the best stuff to use in their work. So it's worth using. So if it's worth using, you'll know because they will show you exactly how they had success with it. Right. So just that one alone, does a lot of little persuasion things going in there. First of all, instead of saying, yeah, but you could always use more, it's like, yeah, you are, let's admit it. And you're never going to stop buying trainings. That's, don't lie to yourself. You're an addict. It's fine. We all are.
Guilty.
Yeah. And I talk about why, right? And then a little borrowed authority here, showing off my Rolodex. And then, talking about, hey, this is kind of Copy Chief, and this is very true, is kind of a filtering system for what rises to the top from all these different trainings and gets repeated and put in and implemented, and you'll know it's legit because, people will be talking about it and showing you how they use it. I don't have to read all these, but number 2, which I know is a big one for us, for our market, is it's going to be broy or cliquish. So I say not even a bit. Women make up 50% of our community and contribute heavily to our community. Our badassers, A-list copywriters who will critique your copy, are also an even mix of males and females. Thing is, none of that is on purpose. Again, because I didn't want to seem like, like super woke or something, right? It's just like, none of this it's not on purpose. It's just always been that way here. So when I see arguments in other communities about why there are so many more male copywriters, I'm always like, maybe in your bubble, dude, but I've never seen that here. In fact, when A-list copywriter Marcella Allison's son took an interest in copywriting, she immediately bought him access to Copy Chief. She knew he'd be supported here with space to develop his interests and skills in his own way. Needless to say, I agreed and was flattered that she trusted us to guide him. And today they work on writing control ads together. All 100% true. Also, our male members are pretty cool too. That was it, right? So again, take it on kind of like what could be a big, this is a subject that we've seen week-long feuds and arguments and debates go on. And I'm just like, look, relax. There's both here. Everybody respects each other. Tried to kind of make it a non-issue just by talking about how it is, right? And so, again, the kind of fun you can have when you limit yourself with words. It's like, I don't have space to go into the bigger argument. I won't qualify for any of the jobs, and I'm justifying why they will. We have clients looking for all types of copy of all experience. Being a cool person to work with is often even more important to our hiring clients than what you've done before. And they're often willing to nurture a good culture fit into the role. Again, very true. I won't have time to use it. We know this is a big objection. Seriously, if you do nothing but log in one time and check out just one of the training videos and download the copywriting beat sheets in our dashboard, you'll have multiplied your $1 investment by 1,000. Plus, respectfully, if you're that busy, you're doing this wrong. In which case, the one video you should watch is Freelancing Profit Pie in the freelancer training section, where I'll show you how to earn 100% of your income using only 50% of your time.
Can we stop right there real quick?
Sure.
What I love what you do, and this is such a great thing. Scroll back up just a touch.
Okay.
With objections, a lot of times, like, I'm trying to think how to say this. When people think they have to counter an objection, especially like in an email or even like in a sales conversation, they think they have to like meet the objection head on. But you're just like blowing right through it. You're like, hey, like if you don't have time to use it, like that's a problem that needs solved. Most people will be like, whoa, I never even thought about it that way, and that is the best way to counter objections, when you completely shift their belief so they see all sides of the issue, right? It's not just like, oh, I don't have time. It's like, well, why don't we fix that problem before you worry about, anything else? Like, and if you get inside, that problem's gonna be fixed. People are like, oh, right. I never even thought about it that way. And you did the same thing with the first objection that you covered too. Like, I don't know exactly how to put that into a phrase or a mechanism, but whatever that is, that's great copy.
Which one? This
just like how you kind of just like smashed it to smithereens.
Yeah,
like,
I think it is. I think of it as judo, right? It's like, again, you use their force of energy against them just by, it kind of comes from improv too, in comedy and dealing with hecklers. If you can yes and a heckler, it's so much more powerful than just getting in a fist fight, verbal
yes
and.
Yes, and I think that's what it is. Yes,
yeah,
and that's like solid.
Yes, and you're never gonna stop. So like, get over it.
Yeah,
and it's a lot more fun to write than. And this is where I just kind of get silly at the end. Oh, this is a big one too, right? Oh, so I said, I'm in like 20 copy groups already, and they're free. Yes, and that's why they suck all your time and energy without actually helping you get ahead in your copywriting career. Being a part of a paid community keeps the posers, trolls, and idiots away so you can focus on doing the things and meeting the people that will get you results. 2 sentences to take away that whole. You'll pressure me to stay after the trial. This is a very honest one, I thought, right? Most people wouldn't want to bring this up. And I say, no way, I'm a fiercely proud papa. So if you take a look around and don't think Copy Chief is for you, I want you to cancel. And I've made it super easy to do by simply sending an email to support@copychief.com with the subject line "end trial." That's it. No rebuttals or incentives to stay. I'll be thankful for you giving it a try, and see you later. Logging in is a pain in the ass. I feel you. It's a running joke in our house about how much I curse at the need to reset a password. Our system is pretty clean, though. You'll log in once and click remember me, and then you're free to roam through the community and training dashboard all you want. What I wanted there was some future pacing, Chris, Really
Mhm.
wanted to get to the ideas like, wow, then I'm just like, I've got this pass and I can go and I can do anything I want, see it all. Big one for us. I'm not a community person. I said, what? A shy writer? That's odd. Seriously, just lurk then. Many of our longtime members have barely posted or replied to anything in the threads. They stay for the training and the job board alone. Just don't be surprised if you find yourself engaging in some threads. Happens to the best of us introverts. Kevin just kind of annoys me. I said, annoys you? Try living in this head. That's why we have a diverse team of coaches with different specialties and unique voices to guide you. Many even have full heads of hair and clean faces. I don't judge.
Yeah.
So,
And again, it's the I love the introvert one. That yes and I wrote
yeah,
about that in my book too. People are like, but I'm an introvert. I'm like, so what? You know, like you're
yeah,
gonna if you want money from other people, like if you want a client, like you're gonna have to talk to someone. You can't just be a hermit. You know, like so what? You're an introvert. Okay, so what? So what?
yeah. You're not alone,
Oh,
and it's not an excuse. Like if
yeah,
you want this, you're just going to figure out how to get over it. So,
yeah.
um, I hope that we like those examples. Chris, let's talk a little bit about whichever of those topics. Let's talk about who's buying this the most. What have you seen? Because again, you took kind of an unconventional at the time route into this, focusing on e-com companies where you're kind of having to educate them about how powerful this would be if they'd let go of their image-based coupons.
Yeah. I'm the pioneer who took all the arrows in the back. So
You
everyone,
did.
you're all welcome. Yeah, it's like what I have always done, and I still do this. I do this with everything, even like my products now and my coaching and clients that I work with. I always do this process of like looking back and kind of sitting down and saying, okay, who are the people that I like working with the most? What are the things that I like doing the most? What are the things that give me the most energy? And a few years back, because I had always worked with e-com brands, like back, when I was starting out, I just took any kind of client. So I would take an e-commerce brand, I take a digital product brand, some brick and mortar, even like here and there, some SaaS, right? And to me, it was just like, whatever, I'm just doing emails, right? And I kind of had that like mindset of like, I'm just doing emails for people. Like we're just selling stuff with email. Like, there was never any delineation for me. And then other people started kind of delineating like, oh, well, but I work for this kind of company. So will this other, and I said, oh, that's interesting that people think about it that way. I never thought about it that way. So I started going down that line. I said, okay, well, there's definitely, ways that you could specialize in different paths. So that's people like, I'm an email copper. Like that's cool. That's one level down in specialization, but there's so many different ways that you can continue to drill down and niche down even further. And I started looking at all my clients and said, okay, even though I'm doing most of the same stuff for people, like some projects give me more energy. They tend to work better. Like the e-commerce stuff, it was like crazy easy. Like, because I did these big, large scale launches, and don't get me wrong, we had a lot of wins, but every now and then there'd be, you put together a big launch package, and for some reason it wouldn't work or wouldn't work up to the expectations that you wanted it to, right? Maybe you fall short by 10 or 20%, and like that would suck. And I'd be
Mhm.
like, man, how do I work on projects where we like never miss expectations? How do we work on a project where it's easy wins all the time? And for e-commerce, it was like crazy, like selling physical products through email. I was like, man, this is like shooting fish in a barrel, because it's
Yeah.
so tangible. Where like if you're selling a $2,000 course or a $5,000, $10,000 coaching, like you really got to have a great product market fit. You got to have a good brand going for you. You got a lot of trust built up. You got to have a great asset. Like you got to have a lot of good stuff going for you. And again, you obviously need that with physical products too. But there's just something about the tangibility of a physical product. Like, hey, I'm gonna order that leather briefcase and it's going to show up at my door and I know exactly what I'm buying. So like it was just a little bit easier. And when we would do these projects, like I never really had a project that failed. Like looking back, I'm trying to think of like a physical product brand in those days when, I'm like, oh man, we sent an email out and didn't make a lot more money than what I got paid. Right. So I said, maybe I'll just do that. And maybe I'll just focus on those brands. And like there were people doing it, but not a ton. So I said, okay, let me just go specialize in that direction. And I work with I just worked with a brand in the tech space, right? Like I work with all kinds of brands still all the time. I have another client who sells physical and digital coaching and masterminds. I have all different types of clients, but a lot of them lately, I just like the e-com stuff. And again, like I don't know if I'm gonna do that the rest of my life, but it's always just been the process for me of looking at like what are the things that I enjoy that give me energy. And some people are the opposite. Some people like, I don't like that stuff. I just like selling high ticket. I just like selling coaching programs or digital products or memberships or whatever it is. Like that's totally cool too. But everyone has certain projects or clients or types of work they've done that like when they do it, it's like there's this never ending like flow of energy that goes through them,
Right.
right? When like they can keep working. Like everyone's had those projects where like as soon as you sit down, it's like you have a cell phone battery in your brain. It goes from like not 100% to 2%. Like, oh,
Yeah.
like I don't want to do this at all. Like I'll sit down, I'll grind this project out, but like I don't ever want to do this again. And some people continue to take on projects like that. Like they don't realize that you have a choice.
Right.
They don't realize that you can kind of pick
Right.
and choose the kind of work you want to do. So for me, it's always just been like, what is the thing that's giving me energy right now? And let me follow that and go deep down that route.
Yeah. I call it the yes loop. It's very dangerous because, it makes sense why it happens. When you're starting out, you just want to get a yes. Yes, I'll pay you. And hey, yes, I'll pay you again. And now your only goal is to get yes to the offer. But then we get trapped in like, okay, I figured out how to get these yeses. I'm just going to stay here. And then we got to start to kind of learn to have some no's in there and get new yeses. And so with that, Chris, that's a perfect lead into like, what do you see as like, what does the future hold for email copywriting? Why is it important to learn it now? For
I
what's
think
coming?
I like we've already started to see last year with like the iOS stuff, the iOS 14 to 15. And I think it's funny because a lot of people thought that iOS 15 was going to be a lot worse than iOS 14. And basically, iOS 14 was about the changes to Apple's privacy, and that really affected companies like Facebook and some of these other ad platforms in terms of what data they were sending back from the users, which means the targeting on those platforms was less targeted, for lack of a better term, than it had been in the past. So a lot of brands that were just crushing it, single channel, like maybe they're only advertising on Facebook or they're only on Instagram or they're only on one channel. They're like, oh, this is great. We're making so many sales, got a great ROAS. And then overnight, Apple's like, yep, we're shutting down like, half or all the data that we used to send you. And their targeting went all out of whack. And those brands, a lot of brands got wiped out. A lot of brands saw performance suffer or their ROAS drop significantly. So what has happened is a lot of brands now are turning to building up, just having more control over their acquisition and their retention. And that comes from owned revenue. And owned revenue is kind of like an umbrella term, which I would probably lump email, but not only that, also SMS and also even direct mail under the umbrella term of owned revenue. I think email is probably the biggest and most popular, although I've had some clients who just absolutely crush it with SMS and crush it with direct mail too, with postcards and things like that. But that's kind of outside the scope of this. But for most people, it's going to be email. Most people, it's going to be how do we monetize the database of customers that we already own? And I just think like platform's going to come and go, right? Like there's a lot of stuff going on at Twitter. I mean, I've tried advertising on Twitter. I've been back and forth to support like 3 times. I don't know what's going on. I mean, there's obviously a lot going on, a lot in flux right now. But like I've heard so many people for years like Twitter advertising sucks. Like it's not good. So I think it's going to get better. I'm hoping, fingers crossed, right? Because if they're shaking things up, maybe they improve it, whatever. But like I haven't been even able to enter my credit card in there. So like, okay, that's one platform. I'm out, right? LinkedIn, I know is decent. Facebook, I've been locked out. I can't even get in. People get shut down all the time. I didn't get shut down. I just got locked out because I forgot to copy my 2-factor authentication code. So I can't even get onto Facebook. So that was an advertising platform I used to use. So that is now gone, right? Google and YouTube I'm using. TikTok is one that's getting popular. But again, like every week in the news, it's like, are they going to ban it? Are they not? Like, and who knows? Maybe they do. You have no idea what's going to happen. You have no control over it too. So like all of these platforms, maybe they're good, maybe they're bad, maybe they're working, maybe they're not. They can be shut off like that for any number of reasons, for a multitude of reasons. You might not have access, but you'll always have your email list.
That's right. Exactly right. It's you don't want to build on rented land. And the other thing, I tell the story because it really shook me when I heard it. I have an author friend who had a very popular book in our space and beyond. So popular that it's now even become children's books and things. I don't want to say his name because he told me this in private, but he paid a mega influencer, maybe the top influencer in his space, 80 grand to promote the book. And what he got for his 80 grand was like an podcast interview, and like one extra mention. And the guy actually liked the book a lot and liked the author. So he threw in even a couple of extra, like, picture of it in the plane seat in front of him, like little bullshit things, right? And so this guy has millions and millions and millions and millions of followers, okay? He sold maybe like 24 copies of the book from all that. And I was like, wow. And he's like, well, you know, I don't regret it. It was an experiment. He said, but here's what I've learned once again. Social media is social proof, and sales always come from emails. That's just how it works. And so our simple only goal in the world with anything we do on social is to get them onto the list, because that's where we can have a conversation. And that's where we can have an intimate conversation. I always like to point this out too. You'll sit there with a friend and scroll Instagram or and laugh at stuff, you know, it's a social tool. You wouldn't open up your email with somebody sitting over your shoulder. You don't know what's in there. You know what's going to pop up, and you don't want to share it that way, right? You want to have, and so it's one of the last remaining digital private channels we have to truly have a conversation with somebody, and that's why learning to write copy this way is so important today, and it's only going to get more because, as Chris pointed out, all these problems are going to continue. Musk is, God knows what pill he's not taking right now. I don't know what's going on there. But there's always going to be upheaval when you know, you have social media platforms, and when they get to their billion, like TikTok just hit 1 billion, at some point they're going before the Senate to answer questions. And so now you got the government maybe like stepping in and telling them how to run stuff. You cannot be a part of that or be at the mercy of that. You're way better off.
Yeah, I mean, they're all going to come and go. Like, remember MySpace? You know, remember Vine was one, right?
Remember,
there's a whole bunch.
Clubhouse was the big
Clubhouse. Oh God, I knew that was going to implode. I knew. I was like, this is like I got on it. I wanted to see what it was about, but when I was on, I was like, this is stupid. And they sunk so much money in. But again, like, you know, things are going to come and go, and who knows? Like 3 years from now, it's probably be something. There was another one. There was another one that just came out. I forget the name. Was it called like? Is it like Be Real?
Oh, Be Real. Yeah, that's blowing up.
Is that what it's called? I haven't looked at it, but again, like you think, oh, every social platform that's here 10 years from now will still be like, no, not necessarily. Like, and again, I don't know if that will be one that sticks, but there's always going to be, and even like in the wake of Twitter, now there's, I think Mastodon, is that the one? And there's another one too that I read about in the Hustle today. There's like, so everything's always going to be in flux on the social front. It's just the nature of the beast. So you ride the wave as long as you can, you arbitrage when you can, and you use it as an acquisition channel, but as a retention channel, email all day. Because when that social platform implodes or the algorithm changes and they slap you or they shut down your ad account or whatever, that's fine as long as you own those emails.
Yeah. Okay, listen, probably taken way too long to get to this, but there is a sale that we started today, a Black Friday sale. And again, look, Chris and I, as you can tell, really passionate about this stuff and teaching it. And that's always first and foremost for us. But conveniently for you, if you're saying, please teach me, and you haven't been through Email Copy Academy yet, then for till Tuesday, our Black Friday sale is on. You may know that, and Sarah can drop the links there. It's copychief.com/email copy academy. I don't know if you can link it there or not. Apologize for the long title, but just go there and you'll save $200. It's normally $497, which is honestly a total steal. We're doing it for $297 during this Black Friday sale, and you'll see on the page a ton of bonuses, and including a coaching call with Chris. So just basically Chris there to answer whatever questions you want to have answered from him. Let me just share a screen. I'll show you
group
guys.
Group coaching. So it's going to be everyone from this round who joins will be invited to that.
Yeah, there you go. You got 8 days. So everybody who buys before this timer expires will get on a group call with Chris, where you will have front of the line access to him to answer any questions you have after going through the program. You can see all the testimonials on this page. A lot of well-known copywriters on here. Chris is, as you know, a retired teacher before he went full-time into copywriting. And so you're not just getting a guy who wants to charge you a few $100 to tell you some things he learned. You're getting an educator who understands how to create a curriculum and get people results. So these bonuses, you're getting Copy Chief for free for 30 days. And we have the ECA group inside of Copy Chief where some of Chris's writers hang out and answer questions. So even before you get on the phone with Chris, you'll be getting help. So there you go. The Email Copy Academy Private Coaching Club, bonus videos, $1 million email sequences, a training that Chris and I did together previously. Growing your biz without going insane, the small list strategy to 7 figures and beyond. That's a huge one. I know there's a big group of people trying to grow their list. Chris, I watched you do this to 7 figures and beyond with a very small list. Amazing.
We're almost at 11,000. I think we're at 10,990 as of this morning. So we're getting there little by little.
Nice. That's a big growth. I think you're at like 1,000 or something when we started working together.
Yes.
Live group and then there's just that live group coaching with Chris. So there you go. $497. You're saving $200. Honestly, for $300. And look, I know it seems like everybody and their brother's selling email courses right now. And again, I can't stop you from trying them out, buying some different ones. But this one's been around. I want to quickly let you know. Chris created, when Chris did you first, 2018, 2019?
I think the end of 2018 was when I first put it out. If memory serves
and
correct.
Again, like Chris is a true educator. He's not ever going to leave well enough alone. And so he was going to retire the course because he felt like, I could teach newer things in other ways. And I said, man, it's such a great course. So many people in our coaching program rely on that course. I said, why don't we revive it and bring it over to the Copy Chief platform? So we'll deal with all the admin, we'll team together with our list and sell it better together. And that's what we did 2-3 years ago now. And it's been hugely successful. And Chris, though, in true Chris fashion, he's like, I'm just going to redo it. I'm just going to redo it. He basically redid the whole training before we relaunched it in partnership here. And so that's what you're getting. All Chris's freshest stuff. And of course, the bonuses. So for $300, I don't care what else you got. You need to get this one. You need to get access to Chris. You definitely want to be inside of Copy Chief. We have, if nothing else, that amazing job board where we vet every lead. We're the only community on the planet, copywriting community, where the clients that post are paying us to post. Imagine how much that increases the quality of a client when they actually paid to post their job to hire you. Okay, that's a lot different than the crap you see in these Facebook groups where like, if you can prove yourself worthy, I might give you a chance.
I pay $200 for this 20 email sequence.
Yeah. I got $200 with your name on it. Convince me.
Yeah. Dude, I don't know. I still log into Copy Chief every single day, and like, I don't know what has been going on lately, but you guys have been posting so many jobs. It's been because you always have been. I know, like, I joined back in 2015. There was always a steady stream, but like, there's that little new post thing on the side, and every time I log in, it's like completely new jobs. Yeah. I'm just like, dude, what? It's like crazy in there.
Well, it's funny, man. Robert Gibson told me in the first year of Copy Chief, he's like, the real value of this is that I see where you can finally close this gap. It's the biggest gap in our business. Between the clients are always saying, where do I find copywriters? And we're always going like, where are the good clients? And I just been trying to wave my flag, and I have been a lot of masterminds and things. And I just the other day spoke to a legend in the business, hard to believe the guy's still alive level legend in the business. Because he needs copywriters. And guess who sent him to me? Brian Kurtz sent him to me. Brian Kurtz has a lot of savvy copywriters in his own group, but he knows that this is what I wake up every day doing, is nurturing copy talent and connecting them with great clients. And so it's just what we do, and it works really well. But anyway, for $300, you get 30 days of that. And more importantly, you get everything you need to know about how to write email copy. I just want to quickly show, and again, we'll end our commercial here, but what's in this? Well, you guys can just go to the, I suppose, the sales page and see, but I mean, look at this, man. It's not just some writing tactics. The anatomy of emails that sell, email strategy, big money launches, how to get email copy clients, closing the deal and delivering results. Okay. So it's like 100%. If Chris could be by your side while you start learning how to write the kind of emails that are most effective and the people want to pay you to write the most, and walk you through every step of proposing to clients, landing clients, delivering for clients. That's what this is.
Yeah. The one thing I'll add to is that before anyone asks, will this work for my type of clients that I made the course in a way where, because the thing is, like, I've worked with over 200 clients in every industry imaginable. So like where my stuff differs is that I give you the framework to walk into any client relationship, no matter what product you're selling, and get a lay of the land very quickly and know exactly what you need to do to craft a sequence or a campaign or whatever it is, or launch that'll work. So it's not just like, oh, I sell digital courses and this is the perfect email system for people who sell digital courses, and it's really not going to apply to anything else. It's like, I've made this as a universal system. And I specifically designed it that way to show you, here's the specific moves and the questions you need to ask when you're talking with the client to get the research, to get the words, to map everything out, to have a successful project. So like, that's where ECA is there. Like Kevin said, there's probably a ton of email courses out there. Some of which were inspired maybe by their experience in ECA, which is cool. I like it. Right. But, this is the universal system. This is universally applicable to anything. Like, you're not going to find an industry that you can't apply this in. I mean, I've written for so many different kinds of clients.
Bagels. Whether or not you would read about bagels, you're going to see how to sell them. And
you're gonna. That's right.
And improve it. Like, I want to praise Sarah helping me with the value stack. She's like, so is the effective cost like 150th since 30 days of CC is included? Yeah, pretty much. You can see it that way because it's $150 a month for Copy Chief. So thank you, Sarah, for pointing that out. All right, so here we are in an hour, Chris. You and I can just go, man. And so I love hanging out with you. Love learning from you, teaching with you. I appreciate you, man. Anything you want to add before we wrap up?
No, I mean, if you guys have questions, you can hit me up. If there's anything that we didn't cover, if you have any other specific questions about the course, but I think you guys should grab it. I think it's going to be transformative and it's a great price, and hopefully see you guys inside and have a happy Thanksgiving.
Awesome. Same to you, brother. All right. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate your time and attention. Go get it. We'll see you inside. Have a great holiday, everybody here in the States. Talk soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.